Hello and welcome back, guys. So today we're going to take a look at the Gundam Universe Rx-78-2. So this is an action figure of Gundams. So as you can see here, this is the box. It is made by Bandai and the logo of the Tamashii Nation right here. So here is the box. So it is pretty much simple. At the back you can see the Rx-78-2 in an action pose, and it tells you right here some of the articulation. So before I start my review, if you guys want one of these, go check Hobby Toys Laguna, link down in the description for all your Hobby Toys needs. So on to the unboxing. So here is the figure out of the box, and as you can see here, the figure looks great. The paint job on this figure I think is spot on, that there are no paint smudges around the figure. And in terms of details, I think there are a lot of sculpted details around the body that you can panel line to make this figure look even better. And I have to say that upon taking this figure out of the box, I instantly noticed that this figure got some weight to it. It feels solid and it feels well built. And as for the aesthetic, I think they are aiming for a more anime accurate rather than a mechanical looking Gundam, which is, I think, it's quite okay. It will have its own distinctive look when you display it in your shelves. Okay, so let's take a look at the articulation of this figure. So starting from the head. So the head can look up and down. Can also look side to side. Can even go full 360. No problem with that. Can also go forward and back just a little bit. And then the shoulder pads, they are connected in his arms right there. So they can only move up and down just a little bit. Then the arms themselves can move forward about that far. Can also go back about that far. Can also go out about that far. And then there is also a bicep rotation, which it is making this squeaky sound when you are rotating it. You hear that? Yeah, I don't know if it's a good thing, but it kind of scares me. So for the elbow bend, it is double jointed, but it can only bend about that much. So not much. And then as for the hands, so the hands is on a ball joint. It can rotate. Then it can also wiggle around. And then there is no waist rotation. It is fixed right there. But I think the upper body is connected on a hinge, which it can make it move forward. Not much. Back. Just a little bit. Can also go side to side. And then the front skirt, it is connected on a hinge also, which can only move about that far. Then the side skirt can go about that far. And then the back skirt is fixed. Then the legs themselves can move forward. That squeaky sound, man. Forward about that far. It can also go back. And then it can also go out about that far. And then there is also a thigh rotation, but it's super tight that I don't want to force it. And I'm scared that I might end up breaking this, so yeah. As for the knee bend, it is also double jointed. Can bend about that far, but it kind of leaves an upward gap right here. And then for the ankle guards, it can move up and down a little bit. Yeah. And then as for the foot, can move forward about that far. Can also go back about that far. Then it can also go side to side. Like so. So the articulation is quite limited. You can only do just an okay pose with this figure, but it looks great. So for the accessories, first, he comes with a right trigger finger hand, a left weapon holding hand, two beam saber handles, and of course, two pink beams, his beam rifle, which you can move the scope side to side, the iconic shield, and an adapter for the action base. Okay, so let's try to attach his accessory. So let's swap out the hand first. Swap this out with the trigger finger hand. And then let's give him his beam rifle, which he holds quite well. Yeah. So let's swap out the other hand and then replace it with the weapon holding hand. So, and then let's try to give him his beam rifle, beam saber. And then attach the pink beams. So as for the beam saber, I think he also holds it really well. Yeah. So let's try to attach his shield. So let's take this out first. And then attach this in here. So you just kind of align it. And then peg it in here. And then attach the shield. There we go. So let's try to attach the beam saber in his backpack. So there we go. Okay, so let's do some quick size comparison. So here he is next to the high-grade Rx-78, which you can see that he is pretty much taller than your standard high-grade. And then, sadly, I don't have a master grade Rx-78, but let's just compare him with this one, a master grade Saku. Right there, so let's try to move the camera up a bit. So, there. So as you can see here, he is pretty much taller than your usual high grade and a little bit shorter compared to your typical master grade Gundam. So he is quite in between the high grade and the master grade. So what do I think about this figure? Well, clearly articulation is not the main selling point here, and I think this Gundam Universe line is made for the people who don't have the time to build a Gundam model kit but still want to collect an affordable Gundam action figure, which this one is pretty much cheap compared to your robot Damashi and will still stand out in your shelves. And I guess that is it for our review. If you guys like this video, please consider hitting that thumbs up button, and if you want to support this channel, consider subscribing. Thank you all for watching, and I hope that I'll see you in the next review.